Welcome to another episode of NeverEndingPanel.com. I'm your host and moderator, Donnie Collin. To the left of me is flamboyant expert extraordinaire, Michelle Pincus. To the left of Pincus is aspiring author and editor savant, Jim Sullivan, responsible for our commercials and all the videos that you see on this site. And to the left of Jim is my Duberhead brother, co-producer and founder of the show, Eitan Collin. And to the left of Eitan Collin is Soundman Tim.
Soundman Tim.
I like that. Tonight's episode is Closet Fans. It's okay to come out.
Get out! Run! Hide! Get out! Oh, come out.
Right.
Sorry, man. Let's say
we keep saying that it's cool, and I guess this is really what this is about. We keep saying, hey, geek is chic. It's
Remember,
cool
if
to
you
be
come
a
out,
geek.
it's easier for them to find you.
Bill Gates represents, the new generation of fandom who's cool. But the bottom line is that you still have shows like Big Bang Theory, which still represent geekdom, and you have to question whether or not does Big Bang Theory exploit geeks? Does it respect them? Is geek still a bad word? We got into a conversation with someone last week who said, hey, I'm still trying to fight the word geek. So is it still out there that it's uncool, even though there's so much science fiction out there that people just love? Obviously Avatar was embraced, most successful movie ever. People proudly said they went to see it multiple times. But does that mean that they're a closet fan or a geek? Don't know. Arlene.
Well, there happens to be
Harry, you're off. You're not doing your job, man. Run! Run, Harry, run!
There happens to be a...
Is it on?
Yes.
Now it is.
Oh. There happens to be a commercial on with a bunch of kids talking about how smart they are, and no, you don't have to see me. And and talking about how geeky they are and how
See her.
yeah. And
Hear her.
Touch
her. Love her.
Hey, they do it to me all the
guys.
time.
See her. No,
Anyway, the whole point of it is, at the end of this commercial, they said that the big tagline is, they'll be working for me. So yeah, it's
Right.
becoming cool to be a geek.
Okay, so this notion it's okay to come out.
I would argue that it's better than okay. It's important to come out because the thing is, people already know you. They already like you. They know who you are. To tell them that you are a geek is to challenge their assumptions about geeks and realize that geeks do not all fit into this stereotype, and geeks are normal people too. It's very important.
Well,
I'm
Ed.
a geek, and if you don't like it...
Did you have your hand up? Did you want to say something? Oh, all right. You have power to the geekle.
Geekle.
Yes, Harry. Is it on? Did you switch on?
Yeah, it's on.
Is it on? Is it on?
can you hear him now?
Can you hear him?
There's
Hear
an
right through.
element that a lot of people don't understand yet, because still we have Hollywood going to the media-style science fiction conventions. They don't come to the literary ones. And there's a different type of fan there that they
They
most
don't go
people
to-
don't understand.
Yeah, but
they're not
before we criticize them for that, they're going to a media convention. I mean, 20 years ago, they weren't going to conventions. They were making fun of all of them. Now, all right, admittedly, they've taken over some conventions and pretty much just Hollywoodized them. But they felt that it was important to take over some conventions and Hollywoodize them. Otherwise, they would be missing something.
It's a big,
So, yes, it's not a literary convention, but at least they realize that they better be getting in on this somewhere. If you go to WonderCon, you go to Comic-Con, these things are huge. All right, like I said, it's Hollywood to the max. In fact, I can only stand walking on the floor for about 10 minutes before I have to get out. But it doesn't matter. They're there. They recognize the importance of it. They can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah, but I don't think... who's the they?
Hollywood. the
Hollywood. But
entertainment,
we're
the
talking
media.
about closet fans coming out, not Hollywood. Hollywood recognizes there's money in geekdom. We're saying, do all the people who go to Comic-Con consider themselves geeks? Do even 80% of them consider themselves 50%? Ed.
Well, something I wanted to say was,
And thank
I
you.
still get the whole thing about, oh, you're going to a Star Trek convention. No, I'm going to a literary science fiction convention. Or no, I'm going to an anime convention. Or no, I'm going to a Babylon 5 convention. I don't go to Star Trek conventions because Star Trek conventions are owned by Creation, and they're evil.
Right, the
They're
fact that you
just
know
men-
that pegs you as a geek. No, the thing is, really, unless you say Comic-Con, most people are going to nail you. If you say I'm going to a science fiction convention, you're right. They're immediately going to say, oh, you're going to a Star Trek convention. And then you're thrown back in there. And that's why I keep saying it's almost like we're swimming upstream. Even though it's cool and you've got Comic-Con, you've got the media there, I would love it to be what Jim said, that there is that embrace, that it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a geek.
Yeah,
Well-
the general public will always hold these presuppositions because it's easy to do
You can
unless you
slap
challenge
him.
them.
You've slapped us enough. If he's interrupting you, you can say, "Hey, I'm
Oh, I'm
talking."
sorry. Go,
But you
Michelle.
think like he's, because he's new, he's the new
Yes.
guy. You don't get to push
Yes,
him around.
I want him
push
to-
him around if he interrupts you.
Will you shut up
I'm
and
trying to, but I need a little bit. Go ahead.
He's just trying to incite violence.
with me? That's not so hard.
TikTok people.
Okay, one of the things you guys keep saying about it's not literary or media, they're fan-run conventions, which is the bigger difference. And when I've never been in the closet, so to speak, for fandom. I've been, quote, a geek. I've been a Star Trek fan and everything since junior high. It's like everyone's already known. I read science fiction and fantasy pretty much as the only thing I was reading on my own choice. And but when I explained it to him, I explained the difference between a creation convention and a fan-run convention. A fan-run convention is where it's a social event. It's like a party. The best conversations are in the hallways, and there's open parties. There's all kinds of things.
Sam and Tim.
Well, I think that a lot of the quote popular culture that geeks are cool and stuff like that now isn't really us, the people who were geeks before, but rather sort of new people who have co-opted our culture, but they are not into it in a way that we're into it. So now suddenly it becomes harder for us to find the things which we like because, well, these new people like something which is kind of like what we like, so they're going to make stuff for them now because now there's a market for it rather than making stuff for us.
Wait a minute.
That's evolution.
Wait,
at
hold on.
least.
This is a
And closer to
problem.
what Jim
This is
was
a
saying.
problem that we should be having. Oh, what are we going to do with these new people that are bringing new energy and creating new forms and giving us new things to do? Trust me, if you go back to the old days where you don't want to be part of a small, isolated group that is not growing. There's death, stagnation, and people stop going to your parties. I'd much rather that geekdom have the problem of, gee, what are we going to do with all these new people, and where are we going to actually find forums for them and us? These are good problems to have.
Arlene.
I don't agree with Tim. I think that a fan is a fan, and if it's new digital effects that get us all to the movie theater or to read a book because some new author comes up with something
Or
which is a
my kids
tie-in.
watching Doctor Who when they can't watch the old one because of the effects, partially.
Well, no, because some of us can still do it, and we try to tell the people who become new fans of Doctor Who to check out the old stuff too, and that's up to them to take into consideration if they want to go back. But I think that a fan is a fan, and so if a geek is a geek, then it follows. So it's just that we just need to. We just get a younger generation who starts off younger than we did initially, who get involved with these things, and so they're a little more out there sometimes. But we're all fans.
I think it circles back to a certain extent what Jim was saying is that there's a certain pride in the way they are accepting not necessarily what we accept as fandom, but this is the way they're taking it on to what Tim was saying. And maybe it's closer to your model.
So is it
Maybe
really
less aspirational? Maybe it's more reality.
Is it really okay though that when you go to the bookstore, like half the sci-fi section is all licensed books, licensed from movies and video games, and the original books don't get sort of short
For the
shrift?
same reason that all the movies are recidivist
Well,
now.
hold on.
And wrapping up in our last 15 seconds.
Well, hold on. They've doubled the size of the science fiction section on the bookstores, so yeah, it's fine.
I go into a Borders and there is at least 2 full aisles of non-tie-in books of science fiction and fantasy. What it is now the genre stuff has become mainstream, and the mainstream stuff is the rarity side thing.
And on that note,
if we screwed up, if in any way we said anything you didn't want us, go down, make your comment below, and tell us how we got it wrong.
that would be
Thank you for
make your
being here.
comment below. And now we are out. Thank you
No,
very
they
much
don't.
for being with us on NeverEndingPanel.com. Good night.